All right, perpendicular through a point on the line. So this is when you're given a line, which means there's no end points. That's why we can't use the bisector, perpendicular bisector. So here we have our line with an infinite number of points. And now I'm going to put a point on that line. And it doesn't have to be quote unquote centered. It can be anywhere. So I'm just going to put it slightly off to the left. It might be provided for you. You might have to provide it. All right, I'm just going to call that letter A. All right, so now the deal was with a perpendicular bisector is that the 2 points that we used were equidistant from the midpoint. Like there was that idea of having the endpoints. Well, right now we just have a point and we don't have any endpoints. So our first construction actually creates quote unquote endpoints for us to use. So we're going to start by doing this. We put our center on A, and then you need to swing an arc. You don't want it to be too small and you don't want it to be too big. So I'm just going to pick an arc length and I am going to essentially make this smiley face. So this is where you might have to kind of do one of these and go around. Now I'm going to lift up and show you what I have. So here I have a really nice point. And here I didn't hit the line. But that's okay because this is a construction. I am allowed to extend my line. So it does not have endpoints. I can always extend my line. This is true for angles and other constructions that have rays. So there we go. I've extended my line and now I have a second point of intersection. Now this is what we've created. A is now the midpoint of this segment that we'll just call BC. A is now the midpoint of that because these two things are the radii of the circle, right? You can almost look at that as a diameter. If we were to complete the circle, this would be our diameter. Okay, so now what do we do next? If you can do one of two things, you can say, okay, I'm going to ignore A and I'm just going to do the perpendicular bisector, which means you would do the whole open up more than halfway, so more than A, and do above and below. Now, the danger of that is if you aren't perfect, then your points, all 3 points might not line up. It's a little bit of a hazard, but you can always do this. Still the same idea. We're opening up more than halfway, but I'm only going to do a set of arcs above. So I'm open up more than halfway, and I'm only going to do arcs above, and I might even run into my title here. So there's one arc. And I'm centered. Here is my other arc. So now that I only have one point of intersection, now I only have 2 points to draw the line through. So my construction is completed this way. I draw a line through these 2 points. And this line is guaranteed to be perpendicular to my other line. So if I put another point on this line, like I say, this is point T, just making it up. I can say that line BC is perpendicular to TA, line TA. Based on how I made the construction, I can make a second conclusion. I can say that BA is congruent to AC, but that really is just the fact that I bisected the line, not that I created a perpendicular line through line BC. And actually, this is kind of line A. We also, I'm going to diverge one more time. Sometimes this line only has a little like M at the bottom. So you could say M is perpendicular to, let's give this guy the letter N to N. So remember, we can name lines with lowercase letters, a single letter, no symbol on top. And that's how we do perpendicular through a point that was already on the line.